Modern digital forensics and incident response teams are drowning in a volume of data that human analysts can no longer process manually. When an endpoint is compromised, investigators must sift through millions of lines of heterogeneous artifacts, spanning Active Directory logs, raw network packet captures, and volatile memory dumps. To correlate these datasets quickly, teams are turning to large language models and retrieval-augmented generation pipelines. These systems can map disparate indicators across thousands of logs in minutes. But there is a structural catch. AI architectures are inherently probabilistic. They generate outputs based on statistical likelihoods, assembling responses by calculating the probability of the next word or token. Forensic science and the justice system require the exact opposite. Legal evidence must be deterministic. The same input must produce the same reproducible result every single time. This creates the capability integrity paradox. The speed at which AI models operate threatens the strict, immutable standards required for legal admissibility. Leveraging AI in an investigation requires engineering a strict procedural environment where probabilistic tools are fenced off from compromising deterministic facts. We start with the DFWS process model, the standard framework for legally defensible investigations. Severe delays occur in examination and analysis, where manual correlation halts progress. By layering AI directly onto these nodes, we accelerate pattern triage without altering the source evidence. The moment this non-deterministic intelligence touches the workflow, it triggers immediate admissibility risks. A hallucination or a statistical miscalculation here could poison the entire investigation. To mitigate this, the integration relies on three pillars: strict data isolation, automated static analysis, and mandatory first-party human validation. A legally defensible AI-assisted forensic report rests on where the AI is deployed within this pipeline and how severely its access is constrained. Measured. Let's look at the beginning of the pipeline, the preservation and collection phases of a compromised endpoint. Investigators rely on foundational, open-source platforms like Autopsy to parse file systems and acquire raw data. The mechanical necessity during this acquisition is write-blocked imaging. Data must flow in one direction only, from the source drive, through the write blocker, and directly into the analysis workstation. Emphatic. AI models must play absolutely zero role in this raw data extraction. By keeping the initial acquisition deterministic, the investigator guarantees that the original artifacts, the registry keys, the file fragments, the memory dumps, remain cryptographically unaltered. The integrity of the chain of custody relies on establishing this absolute, untouchable baseline of evidence long before any probabilistic analysis begins. Once the raw artifacts are securely imaged, investigators export specific logs, like Sysmon event records or CloudTrail audits, for ingestion by a large language model. The primary security vulnerability in AI-assisted DFIR lives within the data environment feeding the model. For enterprise deployments, this requires a strict zero data retention, or ZDR, architecture. ZDR ensures that sensitive information, like protected health information or proprietary source code, is never written to disk or retained for future model training in external cloud environments. This architecture also defends against prompt injection attacks. A malicious instruction embedded inside an external document or an unsanitized log can attempt to hijack the model's behavior. To contain that risk, teams apply the principle of least privilege using precise OAuth scopes. These scopes grant the model read-only access to specific, isolated log files. If those scopes are over-provisioned, a compromised AI assistant can easily be manipulated into an automated data exfiltration tool. Strict data governance dictates the boundary. It ensures the analysis tool performs its function without inadvertently becoming an insider threat or an entirely new attack vector. With the evidence secured and the data boundaries enforced, we move into the analysis phase, focusing on the deep triage of obfuscated malware binaries and fragmented network traffic. Here, specialized AI triage tools merge directly with static analysis environments. For example, the Ask Joe plugin operates natively within the Ghidra reverse engineering suite. The AI processes the decompiled code output to explain malware capabilities line by line, efficiently extracting critical indicators of compromise. Simultaneously, retrieval-augmented generation pipelines scan the exported event logs, merging timestamps from dozens of different sources to track specific lateral movement patterns across the network. The models map these identified behaviors directly to standardized MITRE attack techniques, building a coherent timeline of the intrusion. This automation compresses what traditionally requires hours of manual log correlation and string decoding down into minutes. The AI acts purely as a high-speed correlation engine. It exposes the complex narrative of the attack while leaving the raw deterministic source files pristine and untouched. The final test of this pipeline occurs in the presentation phase of the DFWS model, which inevitably leads to the courtroom. The legal system has already witnessed severe ethical failures and Daubert challenges when expert witnesses use AI to artificially inflate their expertise or generate unverified conclusions. There is an inflexible legal rule at play here. AI cannot generate evidence, and its probabilistic outputs are never admissible as primary facts. Transparency is mandatory. Any use of AI processing in an investigation must be fully disclosed to the court. To cross the validation gap, the investigator must satisfy the first-party knowledge requirement. The human investigator must manually recreate the AI's logical steps, verifying the technical facts directly against the raw, write-blocked data. The AI is simply a pointer, directing the analyst exactly where to look. The human investigator's manual verification of that original artifact is the only legally recognized evidence. Integrating AI into incident response requires 3 strict conditions: securing the data layer, utilizing isolated analysis environments, and demanding rigorous human verification. Avoiding AI out of fear limits a team's capability against modern, high-speed threats, but deploying it without governance destroys the integrity of the case. AI in digital forensics serves as a force multiplier.